Hello, my friends. Pastor Mark here. Hang on, I'm thirsty. Pastor Mark here from the Community Church in Glen Rock, and I've got our third children's Bible story for the summer, all about Bible Wonder Women. This one is a sad story. It's about a man who died and his sister's reaction. So why don't we read this and then we'll talk about it a little bit. Hey, I got to share my screen here. When Jesus arrived, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Now, Bethany was near Jerusalem, some 2 miles away. Many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary to console them about their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went and met him, while Mary stayed at home. Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Even now, I know that God will give you whatever you ask of him." Jesus said to her, "Your brother will rise again." Martha said to him, "I know he will rise again in the resurrection of the last day." Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me, even though they die, will live, and everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" She said, "Yes, Lord, I believe you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one coming into the world." When she had said this, she went back and called her sister Mary and told her privately, "The teacher is here and is calling for you." When she heard it, she got up quickly and went to him. Now, Jesus had not yet come to the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him. The Jews who were with her in the house, consoling her, saw Mary get up quickly and go out. They followed her because they thought she was going to the tomb to weep there. When Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. He said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Lord, come and see." Jesus began to weep. So the Jews said, "See how he loved him." Some of them said, "Could he not, could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying?" Then Jesus, greatly disturbed, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone was lying against it. Jesus said, "Take the stone away." Martha, the sister of the dead man, said to him, "Lord, already there's a stench because he's been dead for 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God?" So they took the stone away. And Jesus looked upward and said, "Father, I thank you for having heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I have said this for the sake of the crowd standing here, that they may believe that you sent me." When he had said this, he cried out with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, his hands and feet bound with strips of cloth, his face wrapped in a cloth. Jesus said, "Unbind him and let him go." That's quite a story, isn't it? I think, it doesn't say this in scripture, but I think this. Mary and Martha, those sisters, were really kind of angry at Jesus. See, when Lazarus was sick, they sent word to Jesus. Come, come, Lazarus is sick. He needs you to heal him. Now, Jesus had been in the home of Lazarus, Martha, and Mary many, many times. They had entertained him and his disciples for dinner. They were his friends. They were his hosts and hostesses. And they had sent word to Jesus, come, 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 he's dying. And Jesus did not jump up and go there. He could have been there long before Lazarus had died, but he didn't come. And I think they were angry about that. I'd be angry about that. If I was praying for a beloved person to get healed and nothing happened, yeah, I feel a little bit of anger, sure. Wondering, God, what are you doing? So Jesus could have come long before he did. By the time he gets there, Lazarus is already dead 4 days. I don't know exactly how long it took Jesus when he got this message. I think it was probably a week. And I think Mary and Martha are angry at Jesus. Jesus, where you been? Jesus, you were a house guest how many times? We served you how many meals? And you don't come when we need you? There was even some people in the crowd who said the very same thing when Jesus was crying at Lazarus's death. They were saying, this man, Jesus, he cures blind people. He heals cripples. He couldn't keep Lazarus from dying. See, I understand this anger. Jesus had the power, but he did not act on it. Why in the world was that? I think it's because Jesus wanted to show these people that he honestly had the power over death. See, without Lazarus being brought back from the dead, people might have been speculating if Jesus had that kind of power. They'd always be wondering if Jesus had this power. Well, Jesus proved it. He's the God of life. He is the God of death. I think it's sad that Mary and Martha had to go through all this grief. It certainly would have been better for them had Jesus come earlier. But then there'd always be a wonder in the back of their mind. Who really was Jesus? Does he really have power over life and death? Does he really decide what happens to us after we die? And this way he proved it. Mary and Martha, even though Jesus hadn't gotten there in time, they still trusted him. They still said to him, Jesus, I know Lazarus will rise again at the last day. They didn't know that Lazarus was going to rise in a few minutes. Sometimes God doesn't respond as soon as we want him to. And there are times that we can be angry at God. Say, God, what are you doing? You should have come sooner. Please understand that God still holds the power of life and death. Sometimes we don't understand why he does what he does. Sometimes we don't understand why he seems to take so long and not care. But he's still the God of life and death. And it'd be good for us to obey him always, even though sometimes we're going to feel pain from that, even though there are times we'll feel loss from that. He is God of life and death. We'll do ourselves well to remember that always, and always trust him, and most importantly, obey him. Sometimes it's hard to do, but it is a really good idea to obey the person who has the power over life and death. That's our challenge, to trust Jesus and obey him each and every day. Well, that is our Bible story for this week. And please, I pray you'll obey Jesus. I pray that Jesus will bless you this week. And I ask you to comment, like, and share this if you're watching it. This is Pastor Mark of the Community Church in Glen Rock, wishing you the most blessed of weeks.